With the Supreme Court upholding the Jim Crow map in Alabama, they are no longer a nonpartisan entity. They are now part of the executive branch of the Make America White Again, and Justice Thomas is Uncle Tom. Listen to the dissent. Sotomayor opened her dissent by saying the court had two paths forward. Down one path, she wrote, an orderly election held under a tried and tested congressional map that protects Black Alabamians' rights to vote, and with which all voters, elections officials, and candidates alike are familiar. Down the second path, a chaotic election held under a never-before-used congressional map that intentionally discriminates against Black Alabamians. The majority chooses the second path and disregards both democratic values and the rule of law. I respectfully dissent. It debases the democratic process by upending Alabama's entire election in the name of permitting Alabama to discriminate against Black Alabamians. It erodes the rule of law by rewarding Alabama's gameship and outright defiance of court orders. 600,000 voters, registered voters, could be affected by the court's ruling. The lower court said that the state was purposefully discriminating against Black voters. They were right. And the Supreme Court, as a 6-3 ruling, the John Roberts Court, the white nationalist court, said, yeah, you can discriminate against Black people. Just leave it up to the states. So Tennessee can do it, and Florida can do it, and South Carolina can do it. That's what they're saying. They already gave Donald Trump carte blanche to commit any crime he wants, and he gets off the hook. We no longer have a democracy in this country now with the Supreme Court. We don't. I don't know what they're getting out of this. I don't. But they're licking the boots of the white supremacists in the White House. You know, one of the things that frustrates me when I started doing this, I did this because I knew a couple years ago this was about white supremacy. This was about white Christian nationalism. And I say it again and again, and I'm going to keep saying it. And I'm so frustrated that white people won't listen to me. It drives me to my core. Trump did not run on the economy. The economy was getting better. It had the lowest unemployment in 50 years. We had the fastest recovery out of all of the G3 countries. The fastest. He ran on white supremacy. They're eating the dogs and cats. The brown people are ruining America. They're raping women and children. They're coming out of insane asylums. Transgenders are going to school at 3 years old and having surgery. If the pilot's qualified, is he Black? I don't know. Maybe he's not qualified. This is what he ran on and his white trash ilk. They are scared of a white minority. This is very, very simple, y'all. Very simple. They see that white America is declining. So A, you put up Dr. Oz, who's a nut, and wants to talk about the birth rates of white people, how it should be at 2.1, it's at 1.5, so we need more white babies. Then the other option is to deport brown people that are here legally, many of them, because they're not the right color. Then you import immigrants that are white from South Africa, which helps the population a little bit. And if that doesn't work, you go ahead and you discriminate against Black voters and you suppress the Black vote so the white supremacist white trash in Alabama can vote. Because even though Alabama's passing this Jim Crow map, their little white trash base with 6 teeth, they're going to vote for it because they're stupid and they're white supremacists too. When Hitler and Benito Mussolini came to power, they did not do it in a vacuum. Right now, the white trash, fat ass orange pig in the White House only does this because an entire political party, and you could argue 2 political parties, allow him to do it. And every person that votes for this map is a white supremacist too. Because you're saying, I don't care about right or wrong. I just want whiteness. And I'm going to interview Eddie Glaude in a couple of weeks. And he says it again and again and again and again. When is America going to metaphorically cut the head off the snake and address it? Because you all don't want to be uncomfortable. You don't want to have this conversation. You want to talk about illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants? Sure, I want everybody here legally. But you don't get to vote for a convicted felon who rapes women and defends child molesters and say, I just want people here legally. I'm for law and order. It's because he's white. He gets a free pass. Remember the outrage over Colin Kaepernick? A black man taking a knee? Remember the outrage from everyone on the right that voted for a rapist president? They're the same people that held a moment of silence for Derek Chauvin, who murdered a black man. They're the same people that voted for a white man who caused an insurrection. They're the same people that ignored over 1,000 white men storming the Capitol and attacking police officers. But yeah, law and order. Sure. It's because they're white. They can do no wrong. And every couple of months, when an undocumented immigrant or a non-white person commits a crime, you do the same thing. Lincoln Riley. Over 40,000 people died from gun violence. The vast majority, 60% of them, were U.S. citizen white men. And I didn't hear a damn thing about going after white people that were U.S. citizens. Somehow that's okay. If white men murdered over 30,000 people that year, but that one brown person from Mexico, we got to put her on bills and we got to piss off the white people. Look, white people, scary, scary, scary. And that's exactly what happened when Obama was here. Because he was kind of the first domino of this. When the White House didn't match the outside and the inside, that triggered people. When the black man was in the White House instead of out in the field picking their cotton, they lost their minds. And they went back to the plantation owner. This bumbling idiot, rapist man that defends child molesters, that stares at the sun, that tells people to inject bleach and says, windmills cause cancer. I have concepts of a plan. Brags about the size of the reflecting pole and praises Hannibal Lecter. That dumbass is who you voted for because he was white and he's stupid. Own the libs. Woo! America, America, America. Because you're dumbasses and you're white trash. You are. You're white trash. The Supreme Court is going to be complicit in the downfall of democracy. And until white people are willing to be uncomfortable, it ain't going to change because the Democrats can win the midterms, but that doesn't fix the root cause. You want to pull out the top of the weed? Cool. But when you leave the root in there, it will pop its ugly head out. And that's exactly what happened in this country. We did not properly punish the Confederacy after the Civil War. We allowed the Daughters of the Confederacy and we allowed the Lost Cause to take root and lie about the Civil War and say it was about states' rights instead of about owning black people. And here we are. They simply went from a Confederate flag to a white hood to a red hat. It's no different. Look at the racists across this country right now. Look at them. Every single Republican that's running for governor or state senate have no solutions. Look at that little dumbass in LA that's running for mayor. He has no plans. Arrest everybody. Arrest everybody. He has no plan for housing, how to help the price of living, health care. How are you going to actually fix the homeless problem? Oh, just lock them up and throw them in a camp. That's not fixing the problem. But that is the same thing that got Donald Trump elected. Just punish people, blame about everything, cry about everything, talk about 8,000 genders and gay people and transgenders in sports and brown people. And you vote for it. Because he's white. Because you don't care. You don't. In about 2 years, there's not going to be one black member of Congress. Not one on the Republican Party. I'm sure that's a coincidence. Just like Donald Trump took down the history of slavery at Philadelphia and the history of slavery in the Smithsonian. Because, why else would you take away history? Because you want white people to think that America's great. It hasn't been great. It's only been great for white people. It was designed for white people by white supremacists. You're going to have to swallow your pride, white people, at some point. You're going to have to start giving a damn. When I listened to the letters that Alexander Hamilton wrote in his first page, in his first 2 paragraphs, he talked about this. How people will stand by and watch something happen to somebody else, but will only do something when it affects them, essentially. And until white people are voluntarily willing to sacrifice their personal comforts, ain't nothing going to change. And I am frankly sick and tired of white people saying, I don't have money. I don't have money. Okay, let's look at that for a second. Are you called the N-word? Are your kids being pulled over at night by white cops because they're black? Is your house redlined? Are you looked at differently? Is your house appraised at a different price? Are your rights being stripped away? Is your history being taken away by a white supremacist? Were your family in somebody's tree or in somebody's will as property? Was one of your grandparents ever put in a tree by a rope? No. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It must be really hard not having money. The horrors. I'm sorry. Please tell us the woes of your life. You have such a privileged life, even in poverty. You don't even realize it. Y'all better wake up, because there ain't going to be no country left. And if you think that your white privilege is going to keep you safe from the darkness, it's not. And you remember this in about 3 to 5 months, when the oil reserve runs out, when you go to file unemployment and your state has no money because the economy's in the toilet, when Canada starts buying its planes from Sweden, when the farmers have 80 or 90% foreclosures because they can't sell soybean because the idiot president you all voted for is selling to South America now because of his dumb trade policies and tariffs, you remember that even when you had a little bit of power, you chose to stay in your white privilege, because this is about one thing: white supremacy. It's up to you, white people. Have a white day.